Hello, everyone, and welcome to Arkansas Style. Thank you all for tuning in today. I am your host, Nicole Neiman. Today marks the final day of our Silver Seniors Week series, a special week dedicated to sharing the people, programs, and resources helping Arkansans navigate every stage of life with confidence. All week long, we've been exploring ways to stay active, independent, and informed, whether that means making important plans for the future, supporting a loved one, or finding services that can make everyday life a little easier. And today we have another great lineup of experts and organizations joining us to discuss everything from health and wellness to caregiving, community support, and more to create greater peace of mind for the years ahead. So let's go ahead and jump right in. Arkansas Style starts right now. Once more, welcome into Arkansas Style. We are so glad to have you with us for this final day of Silver Seniors Week. Our first guest represents a name Arkansan families have trusted for generations. Renata Jenkins-Byler is the third generation owner of Roller Funeral Homes, which has been serving Arkansas families for 150 years. In fact, Arkansans have voted Roller the state's best funeral home for, get this, 26 consecutive years. She's joining us today to talk about something that can bring real peace of mind to both individuals and their loved ones, and that's the benefits of pre-planning. Renata, it is wonderful to have you.
Well, thank you for having me.
26 years, clearly you know what you're doing.
Well,
I mean,
we hope we do. We've been told that we are knowing what we're doing. So,
well, today we're going to talk about pre-planning and how important it is. There's two aspects of it.
well, I think I'm just going to talk a little bit about the history and how we got started. My grandfather and my grandparents began the first generation. He started in the funeral profession in Missouri, and then he moved to Mountain Home, Arkansas, which is where Roller Funeral Homes got started. He worked for Mr. McClure, and when Mr. McClure decided to sell his funeral home, he asked my grandparents, would you like to acquire it? And they said yes. So in 1936, Roller Funeral Homes began their career here in the state of Arkansas. In 1950, my grandfather, to fulfill his dream, needed to move to Little Rock and acquire Drummond Funeral Home here. And so as he grew, my mom finished high school here, met my dad, and he served our country in the Navy, and they were stationed over in Naples, Italy. And so when his tour got over with, they came back, and my grandfather asked if my dad would come and help him run what he was considering to be what Roller Funeral Homes has become today. So that was the second generation. When I was in college, I got a chance to take a year off and work with my grandfather. Little did I know he was going to pass away 2 days before his 70th birthday. And we took him back to Mountain Home, his home place, to be buried there. But he was a pioneer in the funeral profession. He brought the first prepaid funerals in 1968 to the state of Arkansas, where we could take care of Arkansans. The benefit of that is you can stop the funeral at that day's cost. Whenever you buy a prepaid funeral, that stops the price at that day's cost, and it never goes up.
Wow. Talk about a visionary. You must be so proud to be leading the charge as the third generation.
It's an honor. It's an honor that we can take care of Arkansans at a time of need and help the future generations of that family.
And that's the time when family, you need them the most. And obviously, with your family values, it just trickles down. And we're just embraced, by you and your traditions. How beautiful.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
So the prepaid funeral, again, is a critical key in being sure that you can plan ahead and really take care of your loved ones. Because, again, when you pass, a lot of times you don't want that to fall on them, right?
Well, the benefit is, one, you have options. You have time that you can take care of things when no one else is around, and you have the peace of mind, and it takes that financial burden off the family. And I think, and it's also about relationships, and I think if you'll watch this next segment, the Ronzas, you'll be able to see what we're talking about.
Well, that's excellent. You've teased it well. So Taylor, let's go ahead and play those testimonials.
My name's John Ronza, and this is my wife, Paula. And we're both from Memphis, born and raised in Memphis. We moved to Little Rock, Arkansas, 1984. I'm one of the owners of RP Power. We sell residential and commercial generators, backup generators.
Well, I'm a housewife, been a housewife since I had my first child, mom, grandmother of 3 now. When I was 20 years old, my mother passed away. She was only 46. She had been sick, but for some reason it took us all off guard. And we were not prepared. I don't think we ever even talked about anything when it came to death, even though she had been sick. So, and my brother actually has probably the worst memory of it. He was 22 at the time. And the first thing we had to do was pick a casket out. And my brother said he remembers my dad and I standing there with just a glazed look on our face, and he had to take over. He had to take control and do everything. And he has a bad memory of that. A few years later, my father remarried, and he and my stepmother ended up doing pre-planning for funeral. So my dad learned from that, for one. But I don't want my kids to have to deal with any of that.
This is a subject that so many people want to avoid. You know, some people even want to avoid writing a will. They're like, well, that's just kind of creepy. Well, it's not. You know, when we got here and we realized this is a pretty simple process, we've both been through it before. We were through it during a very stressful time. Now we can do it when we've got a clear mind. No stress, we can sit there and decide what would I want? You know, what would Paula want? The kids can say, well, I know what they would want, they picked it out. So that kind of makes it simple.
I think my parents, back in the day, just part of the reason they probably never really thought that much about it either was probably money. You know, they didn't have a lot of money. But when you think about it, you know, you have a payment plan that you can do if you want to do that. I mean, they make it easy enough, and it's like, you know, you're gonna have to pay for it eventually. Why would you wait until the last minute to have to come up with a lump sum of money when you could do it over time? We met with Candace, I think it was, with Roller. It kind of had everything there. If I don't get around to telling my children, it's all written down. It's somewhere that, you know, Roller has everything. And it was actually easier than I thought. I don't remember how long it took. It could have been a couple hours or something, but
I'm not even sure it took that long.
It may not have. I remember we just sat down and she pretty much had it all. I mean, she knew what she was doing because we just went step by step, picked this out.
I would tell someone who's thinking about pre-planning, now's the time to do it, really, because wherever you are, you're clear of mind. It's a good time to do it while you're not under stress. Even if you came here to Roller and looked at the options and you had to go home and think about it, you can look at the options, talk about it, pray about it, come back and decide, these are the decisions that we made. But you're doing it when you're not stressed. So I would say, by all means, if you're trying to be responsible and you've done the pre-planning, estate planning, will, trust, things of that sort, this is a logical next step.
Renata, how beautiful and so eloquently stated, you know. I'm sure you hear this all the time.
Well, I appreciate when we get to hear it. There's 2 phases to this. One is pre-arrangement that they get to write down theirs, and one is pre-planning and one is pre-arrangement. And I brought these just to kind of show. One is, this is the pre-planning, and there's a guide in here that you can go home and write everything down. We put it in a file so that when the time comes that the family knows what the wishes are. The second one is our Assured Peace funeral plan, and this is where the contract's done, and you can do it on a computer and everything's paid for. But I do want to say there is a misconception. Sometimes the mom will go home and say everything's taken care of, you don't owe a dime. That's not true. So this is another little sheet of paper, because third-party providers, you can't pay for the obituary because they'll change the price. You can't pay taxes. Taxes go up. Flowers, police escorts, that's something that is not paid, cannot be paid for through Roller Funeral Homes. So the family can set aside an amount here, and if it's not used at the time of death, then we cut a check back to the family and they get their money back. So it's not money that the funeral home gets. Also, with pre-arrangement, that money that is paid to Roller Funeral Homes goes to the state of Arkansas. We do not keep it. It's not in our bank accounts. The state of Arkansas, it's all secured. So when the time comes, the family is well aware that that money is there. Nobody can take it. We give the death certificate to the state of Arkansas, then they cut a check back to Roller Funeral Homes to pay for that funeral. So that money is never lost. So it's very secure. The securities department takes care of it for it.
Girl, you know what you're doing.
Well,
I mean, 26 years of being the best in the business, I can sure see why. You have absolutely perfected the craft and put peace of mind back in people when it is such a time of concern.
Well, when 100,000 families that we've taken care of in the state of Arkansas choose Roller, then I think we've done a good job.
Absolutely beautiful. Well, lovely to meet you, and thank you for sharing your family story. What a beautiful foundation.
Well, I kind of want, can I say just one thing? I had to do it with my own parents. I had to sit down and get their wishes done. And my mom passed away in October. And there was nothing that my brother and I had to worry about except for a minister. Her minister left. And so a good friend of ours, the pigskin preacher, Chuck Monin, came in and paid a great tribute and honor to her.
How
but that's the
beautiful.
only thing that had to be changed from her wishes.
Well, thank you so much. One of the biggest takeaways from today's conversation is that planning isn't about making things easier for people you care about most. To learn more about pre-planning, prepayment options, or speak with a member of the Roller team, visit rollerfuneralhomes.com or call 501-224-8300. Now, coming up, we're shifting our focus to something many people experience but often ignore until it's too late: hearing loss and balance challenges. We'll visit with experts from UAMS about why early evaluation can make a huge difference. Stay with us. You're watching Arkansas Style.
You're watching Arkansas Style on KARK.
Welcome back to Arkansas Style. As we continue our final day of Silver Senior Week, we're focusing on something many people experience as they age, but often don't talk about it until it starts impacting daily life. From following a conversation with friends to staying steady on your feet, hearing and balance play a big role in our overall health and independence. At UAMS, health specialists are helping patients identify issues early and find solutions that can keep them active, safe, and connected. Joining us is Erica Moore, Director of Audiology at UAMS. All right, Erica, very important conversation. I know it affects many seniors. It is very common, but should not be ignored. Why?
Yes, absolutely. So usually when people come to see us, they're coming after many, many years. Usually the average is 7 to 10 years after they notice a problem. And at that point, their lives have completely changed because of their hearing loss or balance issues. They have started socially isolating themselves. They're starting to say, you know, I used to talk to my son on the phone every day, and now I'm not able to do that, for years and years and years before they seek out help. And we want to prevent that. We want to bring people in early to make sure that we catch it quickly so that they aren't impacted in their daily lives, that it's not impacting them like that.
Absolutely heartbreaking. And I know this from firsthand experience, what happens when you start to lose that hearing. You're exactly right. You know, you start to withdraw and those balance issues. So how are you helping them today?
So hearing aids now are just so much better than they were in the past. There's so many people that think, oh, you know, I had a family member that had hearing aids and they didn't really help them. But the technology now is so advanced. It's not the same device. It's like a small computer. It has artificial intelligence in it. And I'm seeing amazing things. Amazing things.
And another obstacle is the comfortability of wearing those. They've kind of refined that too?
Definitely. They're much smaller, they're much lighter, they're Bluetooth compatible, which people really like, to be able to stream their podcasts and their audiobooks and their phone calls with families. And they're also rechargeable. You don't have those little tiny batteries that you're trying to get in the hearing aid now, which is huge.
Again, major advancements. I love modern technology, and when it is helping people live better quality of lives, of course it's key. So when somebody comes in and sees you, what can they expect?
So when you come in, the hearing test is very quick and painless. It's only about 15 minutes. So quick, easy to do, you know, throughout the week. Just call us, give us a call, come on in for 15 minutes, let us check you out. We're gonna check your ears, make sure that there's nothing going on with ear health, and then we're gonna do a full hearing assessment, see exactly what you're hearing at each pitch so we can figure out how to fine tune and select the right device for you.
Again, folks at home, it's not as simple and forward as you may think. You need these experts to really assess you and then, of course, fit you with the right product. When hearing aids fail or when it's not an option, there's another route that you can take as well.
Yes, absolutely. And so that is another thing that patients don't always know. They try hearing aids and they're like, it's not really working for me. Maybe this is my only option. And then they, you know, aren't wanting to have the conversation about it, but there are other options. And so one of the other options is a cochlear implant. And we have a lot of patients who come in and are still struggling with hearing aids. And we talk to them about a cochlear implant, about what it can do. It basically bypasses the damaged system, goes straight to your hearing nerve, and allows you to hear better.
Again, I mean, it is just, it's a miracle. I love modern medicine and how it is helping people. So when we talk about hearing and, of course, quality of life, it's very closely connected, but how does balance factor in?
So absolutely. Another thing that people think is just a natural part of aging is being off balance or dizzy, but it's not. It's not a natural part, and we want to make sure that we address that concern. Those dizziness and balance can stem from a lot of different problems, and we want to isolate. We want to figure out what's going on so that we can lead patients to the right treatment. Also, individuals with hearing loss are more at risk for falls, and we know that falls are the greatest impact on our older adult population. We want to prevent those. So by addressing hearing, by addressing balance all in one, we can make sure we get them the right treatment options to improve their quality of life.
Erica, you are such a good spokesperson. I mean, you really do explain it so clearly, and you put us at ease. If you have somebody at home who's embarrassed or shy about coming in, let's speak to them.
Absolutely, absolutely. It is hard to take that first step. We see it all the time, and we really encourage to do it for yourself, do it for your family, but also do it for yourself, because all of our patients, after they get their hearing aids, after they get their balance physical therapy, it changes their lives. They're completely different people, and so do it for yourself to see what's possible for your life.
Again, whether it's trouble following conversations frequently, turning up the volume on the TV, or feeling unsteady on your feet, the important thing is to remember that help is available and early action can make all the difference. To learn more about audiology services through UAMS, visit uamshealth.com/location and look for the Audiology Clinic. Now, still ahead, from hearing health to overall wellness, we're staying with UAMS for our next conversation as Dr. Jean Wei joins us to discuss her book, Aging Well, and what it really means to thrive as we grow older. Stick around, you're watching Arkansas Style.
You're watching Arkansas Style on KARK.
Welcome back to Arkansas Style. Throughout Silver Senior Week, we've been talking about the many different factors that contribute to healthy aging, from staying active and connected to planning for the future and protecting your health. And a few people are better equipped to talk about that journey than Dr. Jean Wei. Her book, Aging Well, The Complete Guide to Physical and Emotional Health, offers practical advice for both older adults and people who love and support them. So joining us now, of course, is Dr. Jean Wei, Chair of the Reynolds Department of Geriatrics and Executive Director of the Reynolds Institute on Aging at UAMS. Well, Dr. Wei, thanks for being here.
Thank you, Nicole. I'm delighted to be here, and I'm honored to be able to discuss this important topic to me, but I think it's of growing importance for many.
Yeah, nobody better to discuss this than
please,
you, for
thank
sure.
you.
Aging Well. Why did you write this book, and what's inside?
Oh, yes, thank you. So this is a book about physical changes and physiological changes, emotional changes that happen as we mature and as we gain in wisdom and strength. And of course, we do still have to talk about some of the eventual inevitabilities, and we need to be able to deal with them, adapt to them. And this is part of what our whole society and our whole culture, we need to be able to, the more we talk about it, I'll say it that way, the better we can, I think, share with one another and help one another. Because the truth is, and I heard this from some famous people, none of us is going to get out of here alive, okay? So, we need to think about that, and what we don't want to do is deny the fact that things are going to change and we're going to need to adapt.
Two things about aging. One is that my Aunt Lois used to say it's not for sissies.
Oh,
but at the other hand, it really is a privilege. And
Yes.
so when you talk about aging well, even on the back of the book, the primary question, how do I age well?
Yes.
So what are some of the topics you cover in here?
Well, basically we cover all of the different organ systems in your body, okay? What you need to know so that you can do the best you can while you can. You know, of course, I would recommend this reading to anybody who's over the age of 10, so they might as well start early. I'm kidding, but seriously, you know, if any of us or all of us knew what we would need to know when we were 35 that we know now, we could do better, I think, right? And that's what we wish. But here's the good news. 70 is the new 40. Seriously.
You heard it here.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, what's interesting about the book is that, of course, you touch on the physical, but you also
Yes.
touch on the psychological.
Oh, absolutely. The emotional part is probably the most important. It's what, you know, what we think, how we feel, how do we help others through maybe difficult times, which are going to be inevitable. How do we support one another? How do we make ourselves feel strong and able? Because this is what we need to do.
Yeah, I don't want you to get fooled. This is not a medical journal that you're reading here. I
no.
mean, even part 3, adapting to life's transitions. I mean, Dr. Way, you impart wisdom on retirement and age discrimination and looking for work. I mean, really, some incredible topics, you know, that don't commonly get discussed.
Yes.
You know, by a doctor.
Right. Well, you know, it never hurts to hear somebody else's perspective, and it never hurts to share our own, if you will, anxieties or hesitations or fears, because we're going to find that other people probably feel very similar. It's just that somebody's got to raise the topic first, and we got to think about it. But the more we talk about it, the better.
Yeah. Again, the book is so straightforward, easy to read, you know, bullet points, you know, it's not intimidating like a medical textbook. It is really from Jean's heart.
Yes.
And really your passion behind taking care of the aging population. You are such a gift to us here in Arkansas.
Oh, no, thank you. I'm just so happy to be here. I'm honored. And you know, I have to tell you, when I first wrote the book, some of the people who, you know, read it, they said to me, you know, it's a really nice book, but it's a little bit full of wood. You know, wood is what they call something that's not too excited. But
well, it's made of paper too.
yeah, right.
Well, Dr. Wade, thank you so
Yes.
much. I appreciate you.
But it's not pulp fiction. It's pulp fact.
It's not about avoiding everyday challenges that comes with getting older.
Yes.
It's about having the tools, knowledge, and support to navigate those changes with ease and confidence. To learn more about the Reynolds Institute on Aging, Dr. Jean Way, or the resources available through UAMS, visit uamshealth.com/provider. Now don't go far. When we come back, we're taking a look at the challenges facing the sandwich generation. Those balancing careers, children, and the responsibility of caring for aging parents, and why asking for help may be one of the most important things a caregiver can do. We'll be right back. You're watching Arkansas Style.
You're watching Arkansas Style on KARK.
Welcome back to Arkansas Style. Over the course of this week, we've spent a lot of time talking about resources available for older adults. But what about the family members helping care for them? More and more adults are finding themselves caught between caring for aging parents, raising children, managing careers, and keeping up with the demands of everyday life. Joining us now is Nina Foote, Client Relations Manager with Synergy Home Care, to talk about the challenges many families face and why asking for help isn't a sign of failure. It's often the best thing you can do for everyone involved. All right, Nina, thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a
Okay,
pleasure.
well, let's start at the top. Who is the sandwich generation?
Great question, because when I heard that, I thought, oh my gosh, we've got the baby boomers and everything else. Now we have the sandwich generation. The sandwich generation is people who are between the ages of 30 to 60, who are raising families, their careers, and now they find themselves with aging parents and what to do.
Okay, this really caught my attention because, of course, I've been through this experience with both of my parents. The hidden costs in caregiving for that sandwich generation. Can you touch on that?
Sure thing. I find in working with the family so closely, their stress level is tremendously high, and they don't know what to do, and they don't know how to do this. And what I often hear is, I've never done this before. Well, your parents have never been in this position before. The hidden costs are the stress that it puts on the individual. Oftentimes, even if there are siblings, not all the siblings are able to participate in the care of their aging loved one. So there's resentment, there's anger, then there's guilt because they feel this way. So their stress level is high. Then there's the cost of it financially, the impact that it has on children, husbands, wives, family members, their careers. It all affects all of that, and we think we can do it all, but then also our parents who are aging, they just want your time. They don't want you to come over and spend time putting pills in their pill boxes and cooking the meals and cleaning the house and their laundry. They just want your time.
Yeah. You know, Nina, I remember Aunt Betty saying to me, once an adult, twice a child. And what you're finding is that the sandwich generation is taking care of a child, in essence. And I don't mean that in a derogatory way at all. It's just that those needs that need to be met sometimes are just basic needs, and it does require somebody to help them. What are some of the signs that you're seeing when a family member needs support and help, or the caregiver?
I find when I'm listening to the adult children, sometimes grandchildren are in that position of taking care of their loved ones. What's happening is they've noticed mom and dad are forgetting things. They've gone to the grocery store, but they forget where their car is parked. Med reminders. If there are people who are diabetic or high blood pressure, a multitude of medication reminders, they're forgetting to take their meds. They're falling more. They're injuring themselves. Many have UTIs that they don't know the symptoms of a UTI. Their behavior changes, so they think it's Alzheimer's. So there's all these things that are happening that get missed because of day-to-day life that's happening, and you ignore them, we deny them, but the reality is maybe it would be helpful to have someone come in and help out with these things.
And it doesn't have to be an all or nothing situation. Is that fair?
Very fair. I used to, I will be honest, provide anywhere from 1 to 2 hours of care per week for clients, but it just did not become feasible for our caregivers and everything. So I do have a minimum of 12 to 15 hours of care per week, and that can look like many different things. We can help take a loved one to doctor's appointments and meet the adult child there. We can sit in on the appointment. We can take them to the grocery store. We can do light housekeeping. We can make sure that we've got a client now, and that is the main thing that we're doing, is providing a good, nutritious meal once a day, but also making sure that he's taking his meds. Because it's not good when he doesn't.
Oh, well, Nina, you're an important safety net in the quality of life for our aging population. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Caregiving can be one of the most rewarding things we do for the people we love, but it's also important to remember that no one should have to carry that responsibility alone. To learn more about in-home care services or to find a Synergy home care location near you, visit synergyhomecare.com and enter your zip code to connect with a local office. Now, recovering after a surgery, illness, or hospital stay can be a challenge, but the right support can make hope possible. We'll visit with the team from Pleasant Valley Rehab and Nursing after the break about skilled care, rehabilitation services, and helping seniors get back to doing what they love. Stay with us. You're watching Arkansas Style.
You're watching Arkansas Style on KARK.
Welcome back to Arkansas Style, and welcome back to our final day of Silver Senior Week. As we continue our conversations, we're shining a light on the services that help seniors maintain their health, recover from setbacks, and receive the care they need closer to home. Whether someone is recovering after a hospital stay or looking for long-term nursing support, finding the right care team can totally change the landscape for both parents and their patients and their families. So joining us now is Brandon Boswell, Administrator of Pleasant Valley Rehab and Nursing, a 5-star CMS rated facility serving Central Arkansas. All right, Brandon, well, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Nicole, very much for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course. Important services that you provide. We're going to break it down. Let's start with long-term care. What do you do?
So long-term care, we're going to take care of the elders, you know, and all of their needs. You know, many of them very complex, multiple comorbidities. Whatever those specialized nursing services are going to require, whether wound care, whether short-term rehabilitation needs, we want to address all those needs while simultaneously providing a home-like caring environment. Atmosphere and culture, two things that are incredibly important if you're going to run a nursing home, and those things are just paramount in achieving good outcomes and success.
Yeah, can you expand on that a little bit? Because from the technical side, obviously, you're very skilled professionals that are helping with our ailments, but the soft side, you know, where our living situation is comfortable and in healing. Can you expand on those two for me?
Absolutely. Well, I'll start with the healing portion, you know, and it is a little bit more of the specialized nursing services. We've got a medical director who comes in and rounds weekly. He works in conjunction with our nurse practitioner. She makes rounds 5 days a week on all of our patients. We've also got an amazing wound care nurse who's worked with pressure injuries and wounds for over 10 years specifically. She has another nurse practitioner that comes in once a week. She lays eyes on every single wound or pressure ulcer in the home so that they can work together to develop a collaborative approach to have the best opportunity for outcome for said injury.
Wow. And again, you know, making sure that we're comfortable while we're receiving those kinds of services, very, very critical. So again, we're going to look at some pictures on the screen. You know, again, very, very advanced when we're talking about rehabilitation. You know, oftentimes, you know, that's part of the journey when you're coming out of the hospital. But there is also short-term rehabilitation that's available. Can you speak to that?
Absolutely. You know, our therapy team, 2 of them have been at that home specifically for over 10 years, and having that type of retention is incredibly important for a lot of reasons. But they just work to address any deficits, you know, whether it was joint replacement, whether it was, you know, again, post-surgery. They're going to work to develop the best treatment approach for them to help aid and improve balance, ambulation or walking, or again in general activities of daily living. So whatever it's going to require to get them back to operating so that they can go home and safely be independent and get back into the community and back to their own home.
And you've been rated 5 stars.
That's exactly right.
What is that?
So our most recent annual survey, you know, we had exceptional results. We only received 1 citation or tag as we know it in our industry. That catapulted us to obtaining that CMS 5-star rating, which we're incredibly proud of. Only a small percentage of nursing homes in the state get to have that. It was an incredible achievement. We're, you know, thrilled with it. But that led to 2 new recent partnerships. One was obtaining a VA contract so that we have an opportunity and the honor and the privilege to better serve the veterans in the greater Little Rock area. A second was partnering with Baptist and UAMS in an accountable care organization, otherwise known as an ACO, and that's just a partnership and a delivery system to work together to deliver the best outcomes and approaches, again, for the patients coming to the nursing home for whatever reason. Again, short-term rehabilitation needs, or if they need long-term care, we can provide that as well.
Well, congratulations. I have to
Thank you.
say, you know, those awards that you are given really mean something. And as you said, you know, it affords you the ability to really brag on yourself, of course, really lean into the fact that your level of experience and, you know, quality of care is there. But then again, to be able to serve our veterans, very important.
Absolutely, it's an honor and a privilege to be able to work with you know, with the aging population, and they're most certainly the most vulnerable. So whatever we can do that's going to, you know, brighten their day, brighten their lives, that's what we're going to strive to achieve at Pleasant Valley Rehabilitation and Nursing.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate all that information.
Thank
Very
you, Nicole.
valuable. Again, whether it's short-term rehabilitation after a hospital stay or long-term nursing care, having the right team in place can provide comfort, confidence, and peace of mind for the entire family. To learn more about Pleasant Valley Rehab and Nursing, visit pleasantvalleynursing.com. Now, after the break, we'll learn how a local nonprofit is helping Central Arkansas seniors stay independent through meals, support services, and community connections. Stick around, you're watching Arkansas Style.
You're watching Arkansas Style on KARK.
Welcome back, everyone. Now, we've spent all week sharing resources, expert advice, and organizations that help Arkansans age with confidence, independence, and peace of mind. And our final guest represents something that makes all of that possible: people who show up for their neighbors. CareLink has been serving seniors and family caregivers across Central Arkansas for decades and recently received some great news that's helping more seniors access meals through its Meals on Wheels program. Joining us today are Michelle Gilbert, CareLink's Vice President of Development, along with Robert Chandler, a CareLink volunteer and donor. All right, you two, well, we're rounding out the hour. This is an important mission. Michelle, let's start at the top. What does CareLink do?
So we are a local nonprofit based here in Central Arkansas, and our goal is to help keep people independent and in their own homes as long as possible. So we provide services for seniors themselves, homebound seniors, active older adults, and those family caregivers that are also kind of providing that safety net around aging loved ones.
You know how much I love this mission. I mean, I talk about Aunt Betty a lot when I'm talking about seniors. Aging in place in her home was critical, and having support services like that, especially if you can't get to the senior, if you don't live close to them or you're working a lot, having the safety net is important. All right, well, big news, very exciting announcement to make. What has happened with your Meals on Wheels program?
So we recently received a large grant, a very kind and generous gift through the Meals on Wheels Association of America, just over $250,000 that helps provide foods directly to those doors of seniors here in Central Arkansas. So that has empowered us, enabled us to get 150 people off of our waiting list. So folks who were in need of this service, who may or may not have known where their meal was coming from on any given day, and they were looking at waiting up to a year to start receiving that services, and we've got them now on routes and actively getting those deliveries.
Michelle, it takes my breath away. It really does, to think our seniors, you know, you've lived a long, healthy, great life, and the fact that you're hungry and can't access food, it's heartbreaking. Robert, this is a perfect time to bring you into the conversation, of course, as a volunteer and a donor. How did you get connected to CareLink?
Actually, I started delivering with my mother back in the 70s, and then delivered again in the 80s when I moved here to Little Rock, and again now in the 2020s. So it's just been a great organization that I've been aware of and affiliated with for a very long time. Okay, so as a volunteer, you're out there, boots on the ground. If you know you can't have this work if you don't have people helping fill your shoes, what does it take to be a volunteer? You know, you can go contact CareLink and go through the process of signing up, and then you go essentially get assigned a route. And that route is a certain location that you'll go to on a weekly basis or a bi-weekly basis. And I've in the past shared with another person where we split a route, so we were doing it every other week. And you'll go do deliveries to anywhere from a half a dozen to 18 different people. Okay, you're also a donor. What does that mean? Well, to me it means that I have the ability to make a donation into an organization like CareLink that helps so many, but unlike so many organizations, I now have the ability to see how that money's spent and then participate in the delivery of the food that money pays for. Beautiful. Again, such important work. I mean, Michelle, speak to the fact that, you know, what our state really needs and how people can help you in your efforts.
So it's, if you didn't know, we have a big demographic shift that's right around the corner for the United States, but Arkansas in particular. By 2030, which is, it's crazy, but right around the corner, 1 in 4 Arkansans will be over the age of 60. So we're looking at a huge segment of our population that are needing these support services like Meals on Wheels, and agencies like CareLink are trying to be prepared to meet that growing need. So we do have a lot of different funding sources that make these programs possible, but as we go forward and we see that wave around the corner, these grants, contributions from individuals, community support are going to be crucial in getting, like you said, these folks are they're deserving of that dignity and that independence that they, at the end of their life, and we want to make sure that we have those support services in place as we meet that upcoming demand. Oh.
Michelle, again, when we talk about the Meals on Wheels, of course, an important component. What other kinds of services do you offer?
We also offer in-home care services. Transportation is very vital, is becoming one of the more requested services that people can make it back and forth to their doctor's appointments, especially if they have mobility restrictions that impede using Uber or just a family friend's car. We have family caregiver support services, information and assistance. That's one thing that's really great about CareLink. If there's a service that you're looking for that we don't provide, we can kind of talk you through that situation and connect you with another resource in town that meets your need.
Love it. Love what you are doing. Thank you for your efforts with our seniors. What a great way to round out our hour. Robert, you're a great inspiration to us all.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We can't thank these two enough for being here and for the work they are doing to support seniors and caregivers across Central Arkansas. If you'd like to learn more about CareLink services, make a donation, or find out how to volunteer, visit carelink.org. We'll be right back after this. You're watching Arkansas Style.
You're watching Arkansas Style on KARK.
Thank you all so much for joining us today, and of course a very special thank you to all of the guests and sponsors who joined us today. And all week long, of course, as we wrap up this final day of Silver Senior Week, we hope the conversations have provided valuable information, resources, and peace of mind for you and your loved ones. If you'd like to learn more about any of today's topics or rewatch a segment from the past week, visit our website at arstyleshow.com or follow us on social media for more. We will see you all again next time with love. Mwah.
Thank you for watching Arkansas Style with Nicole Neiman. Furniture provided by Hank's Fine Furniture. Fresh flowers provided by Norwood Day Floral Company.